What's up, guys? I'm JFleezy, and we are back with another episode of Tri-State Wrestling Federation. In this episode, we have the two first Hard Knocks of 1994. We have finances that need addressing, fixing, hopefully. We have, I think, a great year ahead of us in terms of growth, if we play our cards right. And we have some volatile things going on backstage. You know what? Let's get to the episode. Stick around, find out what's going to happen, and how we're going to crown our new number one contender. Alright, here we are. Hard Knocks, number one of the year. We have Dick Knox opening the show as he always does by calling Big Vito out to the ring. Vito slowly makes his way out. There's a standoff for a moment, face to face. Two badass dudes, and of course, Big Venom there being a little obnoxious because that's just what he does. Before Knox reaches his hand out, shakes Big Vito's hand, recognizing Big Vito as a real champ, but also throwing in the comment he needs to get rid of his little weasel. Acknowledging Big Vito is truly a real champion, a badass champion, and a deserving champion, whether Big Venom is a problem or not. And then finishes with announcing a number one contenders tournament for Big Vito's next challenger. Pretty hot start. Seems the ratings got lower as it went on, but you know, it happens. 50 segment rating is a great start. We then have a great opener. Wow. Taz versus Chris Candido, where Candido beats Taz in less than 8 minutes with a diving headbutt. That is a way better match than I expected. Kinda crazy, actually. 51. We then have Dick Knox. Well, I guess Fletcher Knox approach, and Dick Knox in the background, backstage. What are we gonna do about this Doomsday and Cash thing? And Dick Knox just says, see if the champs can handle their own problems. See if they're up to the challenge. 45 segment rating. Dick Knox kind of just blows it off. Fletcher Knox a little more concerned because he's definitely been on the Wrath's end of Doomsday at some point. Not great to be. We then have Debbie Malenko take on Kimberly Wolzer in an awful match because Kimberly's terrible. Debbie obviously getting the win there. We then have Vic Venom and Vito LaGrasso in the ring. Vic Venom asking Big Vito what he thinks about the number one contenders tournament and who he thinks his favorite is. And Vito just says, you know what? It would be fun to, kick around little Fletcher Knox again, or little Pipsqueaks, Rey Mysterio, or the Lightning Kid. But he thinks Daddy Boy Double J is probably Daddy's boy Double J probably gonna win this tournament. That would be his favorite. We then have Leaf Cassidy in the first match of the tournament taking on Rob Van Dam, where Leaf Cassidy defeats RVD in 11 minutes with a snowplow. In a very good start to the tournament, 53 segment rating, Leaf Cassidy a 58, doing very well. We then have the first appearance of Sean Morley and Stevie Richards as the tag team champions. As soon as their music hits and they start walking down the ramp to the ring, Doomsday attacks from behind, unleashing the beating of all beatings on them for the next 4 minutes, I guess. Next 4 or 5 minutes, and then just walking away like nothing happened. 54 segment rating, boys, Doomsday. Quite good at laying some beatings, huh? Sorry if you hear a rooster in the background. He decided to start screaming as I record. In another incredible tournament match, we have Rey Mysterio taking on Jeff Jarrett, with Jeff Jarrett defeating Rey Mysterio in 12 minutes with a pile driver, off of a distraction from Terra Rising. Double J advances in the tournament. He's putting on performances akin to Rey Mysterio, which, very good. Him and Leaf Cassidy, honestly, both did 58s in their matches. Rey ain't just an outlier anymore around here. We then have, I guess, the shocker of the tournament in multiple ways, honestly, with Booker T defeating Fletcher Knox in the first round, knocking Fletcher Knox right out, and Booker T maybe getting back on track. 38 segment rating. Again, disappointing for Booker. And in our final, well, for one, main event, but our final number one contenders tournament match of the night, we have the Lightning Kid defeating Chris Jericho in 10 minutes with a super kick, putting in a 59 segment rating, 61 from Jericho, outperforming the Lightning Kid at a 60. Wow. Tournament's doing some big numbers, isn't it? Then we have Big Vito LaGrasso, Vic Venom, in the ring. Big Vito congratulating the winners this week, essentially saying he's ready and he's waiting to find out who's going to be the next one to lose to him. I mean, fair enough, I suppose. Nobody beats him. We end the show with a 57 show rating, and that is quite frankly incredible, especially when we have Booker T and Fletcher Knox wrestling on the show, and Debbie Malenko and Kimberly Wolzer, which Debbie's good, but Kimberly's terrible. What a show! 57, the show just keeps getting better and better in front of 129 people. Boy, they got their money's worth in the charity hall. Let's go. Very excited. Very happy. Let's get to the second Hard Knocks. Alright, here we are. Hard Knocks number 2 of 1994, and we have Dick Knox opening the show. More or less the usual, welcoming the fans and introducing, for one, his opponent tonight. He will have a match facing Brian Armstrong, because Dick Knox likes to have matches every once in a while. Keep himself fresh, keep himself young, you know? Let everybody know that he can still whip anybody's ass, except for apparently Big Vito LaGrasso. And then the two tournament semifinal matches tonight, which will be Booker T versus the Lightning Kid and Leif Cassidy versus Jeff Jarrett in the main event. 53 segment rating. Very good open. Great job. Well done, Dick Knox. In the opening match now, straight off of this, Dick Knox beats the hell out of Brian Armstrong. A 62 performance from Dick Knox. Pulls out a 52 with Brian Armstrong in 8 minutes, finishing him with a knocks out. Beautiful work from Dick Knox, man. 62. Wow. We then have Glenn Gilberti talking to Fletcher Knox, talking him up after his loss in the first round last month to Booker T, and telling him, you know what, it's fine, because now it's time for us, to win the tag team titles instead. And my typos are getting crazy, aren't they? 32 segment rating. You would think it'd be better, honestly. Glenn Gilberti is great on the mic. Fletcher Knox, maybe not as much. 32 is a little disappointing, though. No, what is not is this match. We then have the first semifinal match of the night, which may somehow actually be the better match. The Lightning Kid defeats Booker T in 12 minutes with a super kick. A 62 performance from the Lightning Kid and a 48 from Booker T. Maybe his best performance ever. A 48, a 60 segment rating. One of the best matches in company history. Wow. Great semifinal match. Can't wait to see the next one. We then have the heart and hustle of Glenn Gilberti and Fletcher Knox facing off against Saturn and Canyon, with Glenn Gilberti getting the win, submitting Chris Canyon with the figure 4 leg lock. Beautiful stuff. Glenn Gilberti at 23, Fletcher Knox 28. It's never good when Fletcher Knox is one of the best performances in the match, but him and Glenn are starting to get better, and I quite frankly really like them as a tag team. 30 segment rating. We'll get there. We then have Dick Knox approach Kid Cash backstage, telling him, you need to get your thing under control. I'm not gonna ask again, essentially. And Kid Cash just kind of looks at him and says, nobody controls Doomsday. Doomsday does what Doomsday wishes. And Doomsday kind of enters the scene. It squares up with Dick Knox, just for a moment, before he turns and just walks away. 52 segment rating, 55 part 1 on the promo, 45 for the stare down, face off, whatever you want to call it. Dick Knox was poor in his improvising, which is shocking, to be honest. That does not happen. 52 segment rating, though. It's very good stuff. Very good scene. We then have, while that's happening backstage, Sean Morley and Stevie Richards cutting a promo in the ring saying that no matter the amount of cheap shots or attacks from behind, the featured attractions will always be here, will always defend their tag team titles. Nobody is going to run them off, nobody's going to scare them off, and they will continue fighting until they can no longer fight, essentially. I don't know where that promo came from, but hey, not bad. 54 segment rating, very well done. Stevie Richards and Sean Morley always fire on the mic. Love the boys. We then have another tag team match and a very good one. Mysterio Jr. Juventud Guerrera versus the Thrill Seekers of Chris Jericho and Lance Storm. Chris Jericho submitting Juventud with the Lion Tamer. I forgot that's his submission. Interesting. 54 segment rating. Let's see what Rey Mysterio does a 65. Chris Jericho up to a 61 performance at this point. Does have a great chemistry and tag team bonus, but wow. Jericho's starting to catch fire around here as well. If he'd ever stay around and stay out of his concerts, he might really be something around here. Beautiful, beautiful work in, I believe, the semi-main event. We then have Chris Jericho cutting a decent promo. I actually thought it might be better. A little cocky Jericho promo. We then have in our main event, equal to the other tournament, which is crazy that the Lightning Kid and Booker T pulled off the same performance as Leif Cassidy and Jeff Jarrett. But we have Leif Cassidy defeating Jeff Jarrett in 22.5 minutes with the snowplow. Leif Cassidy pulling off a 58, Jeff Jarrett a 54, probably sandbagging because he was mad he lost this match. Segment rating of a 60. One of the best matches in company history. It's beautiful work by the boys, even an angry Jeff Jarrett. Very well done in the main event. This is going to be a great show, guys. Great show. We then have Big Vito LaGrasso in the ring with Vic Venom, commenting on the matches and kind of expressing his shock that Daddy's boy, I don't know why I cannot say that, Daddy's boy Jeff Jarrett actually lost in the main event. And he will be facing Leif Cassidy, who he does not consider competition whatsoever. 39 segment rating. Vito LaGrasso disappointing on the mic. He's kind of going back down to not being that good again. It's a little weird since Vic Venom came around. He's kind of gotten worse, which is weird. Anyways, great show. It's still a decent segment rating for somebody who's not incredible on the mic. Great show. 59 show rating. I thought it might be a little better. The last show was 57, I believe, and this show was significantly better than the last, in front of 132 people who got far more than their money's worth. Again, this company is really on fire in terms of putting on great shows. Now, financially, but putting on great shows, I mean, there's nobody putting on better shows than us with the constraints and, I guess, financial constraints and, I guess, quote-unquote lack of talent that we have, more popularity than talent. I mean, we're out punching our weight class for sure. This was a great show. I will catch you guys back in the office. Alright, we are back in the office, and there are a couple things before we get into this outro. For one, in this episode, we have made money. Not much of a profit, but we have made a profit. So, I think we can start. We're going to start bringing this back pretty quickly here, I think. For one, because we're making money, but we're growing, and honestly, wages aren't growing excessively. But for two, attendance should be going up, especially because of this here. Tri-State Regional Battles. TSWF finished first out of the 3 in Tri-State Regional Battles this month. Because of this, attendances for TSWF shows in this region will be boosted by 5% for the next month. And I have to imagine we're going to be winning that essentially every month. So, I mean, that's a 5% boost. Plus the boost we're going to start getting from our ratings, or our popularity going up. So this is looking pretty good right now. Alright, as I get into this outro, I'd like to say one thing. I would like to say how much I appreciate all the regular viewers who have been tuning into every episode, commenting, liking, watching, and just enjoying this ride along with me. I greatly appreciate it. It helps a lot. It means a lot. I appreciate all you as well as the new viewers that check into TSWF every once in a while. And with that being said, if you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoy this series, please leave a like as it helps me feed the algorithm, get these episodes out to more people. It also tells me you are still enjoying this and it is worth all of our time to continue doing it. Other than the fact I'd be playing this anyways because I love this save. If you don't want to miss the next episode of TSWF, Tennis Manager, Wrestling Empire, or my possible Football Manager content going forward, or any other sports content that will be coming to this channel going forward, Football Manager probably sooner rather than later, hit that subscribe button, as well as that bell so you are notified every time I post an episode. I appreciate all you guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your days.